And as I say to my daughters, for me, dyslexia has been a great advantage. I don't see it as a disadvantage. And I certainly would not be the designer I am today if it wasn't for the eccentricities of my mind. I've obviously always been dyslexic, and I've been lucky enough to be diagnosed very early, my father being quite dyslexic. And I suppose the result of it was I had quite a complex childhood, and I always quite enjoyed my mind and had a very sociable time, but I had a huge lack of discipline and order, and found progressively more and more kind of maybe eccentric creative outlets. The result of which was that schools found me quite hard to house to an extent, and often asked me to move along. And had intriguing kind of dialogue with subjects like pottery and photography. They managed to even fail pottery O-level twice. I was incredibly lucky to have a mum who had every confidence in me, and an inspiring grandmother too. And signs that success were possible without the need of a conservative mind. I became obsessed with creative subjects, be it pottery or making wire sculptures, but in a way that the academia couldn't really understand. It didn't really fit into any of their programs, and hence the lack of kind of academic qualifications at that point. But the more I dug, the more I discovered the way I looked at things was different from other people, and had many advantages to an extent. I was much more absorbent of information rather than orderly storing it. I learned through touching and feeling, and through kind of the much more emotional sides of design. And slowly discovered I had a powerful ability to talk. And though my drawings were appalling, and my ability to use CAD minimal, my ability to communicate and articulate served me very well once I started to take on more kind of ambitious projects. When I was 16, I left school. Sorry, when I was 16, I left school and became a cabinet maker with plans to kind of travel around the world and make, not change anything, but make people happy, make beautiful things. And in Liverpool, working as a cabinet maker, we found ourselves more and more designing kitchens and then designing exhibitions that we were making because someone had to design them. And actually discovered I was much better at designing things than I wasn't making things, and went through this transformation. And I think I've inherited a very three-dimensional mind, so I have the ability to see things in a way that more conservatively educated minds do necessarily. I come at things from a different angle. And as I say to my daughters, for me, dyslexia has been a great advantage. I don't see it as a disadvantage. And I certainly would not be the designer I am today if it wasn't for the eccentricities of my mind.